This is a momentous occasion. I had to count how many interviews we've had since Mrs. Hooper was our first guest in July of 2020, and we thought this would just be for the pandemic, right, Kevin K? Since you are the thank you, the idea of coming together on Zoom because of the pandemic. And here we are. Here we are. So I want to thank a few people as usual. I'd like to thank Kevin, of course, for the idea of Witness to History, and for Megan Hayes, who joins us ordinarily for Witness to History. I'm not sure if she's going to be able to join us this evening. And Megan always posts our Witness to History interviews on the Shaker Library website. And Theo Darden keeps us all informed about Witness to History each month. So we get a robocall, and he keeps us all connected. So, and I welcome everybody who's here today. But I'd like to thank a special thank you to Kayla and Sena for agreeing to be our guests this evening, and family, and family. So, just as we proceed, if anybody wants to chime in or post a question or a comment in the chat, please feel free to do so. So I remember meeting Kayla and Sena at a neighbor night, and it's always just wonderful to be able to see new neighbors in the Moreland area, and especially neighbors who live across the street from me. So I know exactly where you are on Shelton Road, Shelton Road, and we're going to have a wonderful conversation. Thank you again for being with us. So we'll get started on our conversation, and I want to ask what I ask everybody is to share with us when and why you moved to the Moreland neighborhood. You okay?
Well, thank you so much for having us. It's good to be here with everyone. We moved to the Moreland neighborhood about a year and a half ago, and my grandparents, Vern and Helen Miller, they lived on Hildana for much of my life, the first part of my life. So I spent a lot of time there. We have a big family, and we spent a lot of time at their house. This is the front of their house, where they lived on Hildana. And this is an early family gathering. And a lot of that family still lives in the Shaker area, around just a couple blocks away within walking distance. And so really we went back to where my grandparents started our family out, where we can all kind of gather together pretty easily in that area.
That's nice. And you told me that your uncle still lives on Hildana. One of your uncles still lives there.
Mhm.
That's wonderful. I mean, many of us live close to family, and are here because family is settled in Shaker. So, that really says a lot. Very often people say, "Well, I moved here for the schools." You moved here because of family. That's
Mm.
wonderful. That's wonderful. Can you tell us a few people who are in this picture, in these pictures? You told us, you're a young person in these, but you're young now, but younger. Tell
Sure,
us.
yeah, this is inside their house on Hildana. I'm the little kid all the way to the right in the front in the red. Um, and then my grandpa's got his arms crossed in the middle and the back. My grandma's holding his arm. My parents are to the left of them.
Mhm.
And then all the folks around are my aunts and uncles, and the young ones are my cousins.
Yes, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So you didn't grow up in Shaker, right?
No, I grew up in Bedford Heights,
Okay.
which is where my parents still live now.
Okay.
And so it's not too far away. But I grew
Yeah.
up spending a lot of time there, walking over to Shelton's
Oh,
Park and playing at the playground.
that's nice. Now, didn't you tell me you have family over in the Lomont area as well?
Mhm.
Okay. So within walking distance, that's good. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not way over in Malvern or whatever, not really that far away. That's great. That's great. So, so tell me what you like about the Moreland neighborhood. Senna?
I mean, I like a lot that it seems to be. You want to go downstairs? Okay. A neighborhood where you can really get to know your neighbors, especially, having met so many people through like neighbor night or events like Halloween party for the kids. And of course, Um, I love to live in a walkable area too. So for me, that's a big, huge plus of living here.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We talked the other day when I was out in front of the yard.
Yeah, just running
Mhm.
into someone, and getting to know people pretty easily that way is, I
Oh,
think, pretty
yes. You
cool.
probably know a lot
Seems
more
like
people.
a more old-fashioned way of living in a neighborhood.
Hmm. Absolutely. We need to all do that more. It is a walkable neighborhood. I mean, there are, beautiful, spaces around this area. And and you walk also because you don't drive.
I
That's
don't drive. No, I don't. It's a blessing and a
good.
curse.
Oh,
But yeah, I also, with the kids, that's how I get around. That's how I exercise.
yes.
I do a bit of running as well,
Mhm.
but not so much anymore. You know,
Okay, but you did say that you were in a marathon.
I've done a half marathon before, yeah,
Okay.
when we first moved back to Cleveland.
All right. Well, maybe that'll come around again sometime.
Maybe.
Yes, 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 yes. So we have a few other pictures of your time moving into your house or, fixing up your house on Shelton. Tell us a bit about what you were doing here. Is this on your, well, actually, you have a double house.
We do, yeah, we do have a
Yes,
double house. Um,
yes.
and
It looks like you're thinking about something on the
well,
picture.
we're thinking about why would you cover up a hardwood floor with
Uh,
carpet? Which is, what happens a lot when you buy an old house. So
yeah.
yeah, we removed the carpet, and there's a lot of there's hundreds or maybe even 1,000 staples were in that floor though. And
Mm. Oh, wow.
my dad was in and he did spend a lot of time pulling them out. So I appreciate him doing that work, the tedious work.
Yes. Well, I mean, people took those floors for granted. You
Yeah, we
Sure.
love
Yeah.
hardwood.
They are a
Oh,
little creaky though. I
They're
could
creaky.
we
oh
could
yeah,
have a little cushion on them.
they
But
are.
and then on the other picture, that's now our living room. Yeah, we did the house was in pretty good shape, but we just sort of did a little bit of cleaning up and there was mirrors across the mantle
Oh
that blocked
yeah.
windows. And so we took down the mirrors to because we really like light and south facing windows. So
Okay, now say that again. The mirrors blocked the window.
I feel like it's a common setup where there's like a mantle with two little
Mantle.
windows on each
Yes.
side.
Right.
But the mirror was across the whole thing, including the windows. Like they were hidden. You wouldn't
Mm.
necessarily know there were windows there, except went around to the outside of the house and saw there were windows. And so
Wow.
we
Yours
took
is not the first house that I've known of that where windows were blocked.
really.
I knew another family, I
Mm.
think maybe in the Fernway area. And they removed, I think they were almost bricked in. And they're like, why would, well, whatever. And then we come along and we really love the architectural features of the original house. Yes, that's
Mm.
Hmm.
so Cindy, you tell us that you're originally from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm from this place called Uniontown, Pennsylvania. It's south of Pittsburgh. It's almost West Virginia. And
Mm-hmm.
it kind of has that kind of feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that's where I come from.
All righty. All righty. We have to know more about I've heard of Uniontown before. So I understand that you all spent a good length of time in Pittsburgh. What brought both of you there to Pittsburgh?
I just moved there after school. I went to a small college, like in rural Pennsylvania, kind of, and southwestern Pennsylvania. I went to school for painting and drawing, and I just,
Mm-hmm.
naturally moved to the nearest city after school.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now, yeah, go ahead.
I went to college in Harrisburg, a little liberal arts college in Harrisburg, and then I did a service program in Pittsburgh my
Mm-hmm.
year after I graduated from college, where I lived in this big house with 8 folks, and we all
Mhm.
volunteered in different places in the city. And I worked at a homeless shelter and housing program, and then
Mhm.
ended up getting hired and worked there for about 10. I stayed in Pittsburgh for about 10 years
Oh, okay.
after
See,
that.
okay. So tell us how you met. Were you there in the same house, Sena? Is that,
No, we met on the internet through a dating app.
see, I didn't ask you that before.
You
Okay.
didn't.
Nice.
Um, I think it was a really good golden era of like internet dating. I know people still do it, but it was like right when people were like regular people didn't think it was weird or scary anymore.
Mhm.
But then it like wasn't super oversaturated. Do you know what I mean? I think our age group was really good for it at the time too. But you could like someone, but if they don't like you,
Mhm.
that doesn't match.
Mhm.
Once a day, you could super like somebody and it would tell them you did it. And I saw Kayla and I saw a lot of her mutual interests and the kind of
Mhm.
values it seemed like she had.
Mhm.
And I thought she was cute too.
Yeah.
And so I did the super like, and like I did that really late, and I remember all day at work being like, you know what I mean? What is she gonna respond? Is she gonna respond? So that's how we met, and we had a lot of mutual friends though,
Oh,
which is funny because we had a lot of mutual friends that like were just one person removed.
oh, wow.
Yeah, and we I think
Hmm.
I lived in Pittsburgh probably 8 years, and you did for like 10 maybe something like that, and like we didn't know each other until our last couple years there.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. That is really interesting that you knew some of the same people.
Well, one of
That,
my favorite little tidbits is that Sena is an artist, and we had a print over the mantle in the house that I lived in that was one of my roommates, and it was one of their prints. So when we met them and I saw their art, I was like, "Oh, I look at that art all the
Oh
time.
yeah.
It's over my
oh,
mantle."
interesting. Oh my goodness. Wow. Were you kind of starstruck? You're like, oh my goodness, I have your work in my house. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Mhm.
So, that helps not to necessarily have to vet someone, when people already have
Mhm.
common interests. That is
Yeah.
wonderful. That's wonderful. And so, you were in Pittsburgh for quite a while, for quite a while. And then where did you happen to go after that time?
We moved from Pittsburgh to New York City, and we lived in Manhattan, um, in a house called Meadow House,
Hmm.
so that I could go to seminary at Union Theological Seminary in
Hmm.
New York City. And yeah, these are some of our scenic photos
Amazing.
around the city.
And I was asking you if there was any allure about New York that would make you want to stay, and you said no.
I wish I could live there forever,
Oh, really?
but it wasn't in the cards. You
Okay.
know.
There's a lot of really positive. I mean, it's so walkable. We lived like near Union Square in Manhattan, which is a really prime location to live because we lived in a big group house called Meadow House that we
Mhm.
actually ended up managing. It's sort of a guest house where people could stay. Um, so it was really, yeah, it was nice. But we were there during the pandemic. We were
Yeah.
there like when it first hit, and
Oh,
that
wow.
felt a little bit scary because we knew this big thing was happening, and we were in this big city. It was a little bit frightening.
Mhm. So,
And a strange time to
Strange
live in
time.
a New
oh,
York City
yes,
for
yes,
sure.
yes, in a space with so many people.
Oh yeah. And that was nerve-wracking for sure.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm sure you made sure nobody ever went outside your space. I mean, that's a scary time. I mean, people had to live their lives, and
Mhm.
True,
protect
yeah.
themselves for sure.
Yeah, I actually worked as a chaplain. I was doing a chaplaincy program at one of the big hospitals in New York City, which was very,
Mm,
I had to wear a mask with a mask over it and like eye protection.
Mhm.
to visit patients and provide, spiritual care to people. With all of these, like you can't even barely see my face. It was a very interesting and strange time.
Hmm. Hmm. And you never contracted COVID?
Oh, we
Well, never
when we
mind.
were
You don't have
moving
to talk
back
about it.
when we were moving back to Cleveland. Well, I got COVID once in New York, and it was like it was when it was still fairly new, and there was like this program where if you couldn't really isolate safely,
Mhm.
you could go to like this like hotel. So I lived in this like COVID hotel for like a week.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Okay.
that
Hmm.
was interesting experience. And then when we were moving back to Cleveland, I was supposed to be like training my replacement because I managed the Mennonite guest house, and
Oh, okay. Hmm.
I was supposed to be training him. We were supposed to be packing, all this stuff. And the last like 2 weeks we were there, like we got it. Like we got it
Oh,
ever, our
mhm.
child ever got it.
You
So I was
almost.
just trying to like work and take care of a kid and like not really rest and train somebody safely while we were moving. So that
Mhm.
was a so by
Was
the time
it?
we got to Cleveland, we were like out for the count for a really long time. Like
Mhm.
we were exhausted and it took us, I think, a long time to bounce back.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah,
Wow.
that was a tough, it was a bummer to leave in those circumstances.
Yes, that was a time for us to look back on and think about how much we did to protect ourselves and other people around us.
Mhm.
Sure. You okay, said that you were in what is a short stay residency? Is that what it was called?
It
Is that
was
what you said?
kind of yeah, like there were people who were say like volunteers or service workers traditionally who could live in that house longer term than just like, a few days. They could live there like a year or two. So I
Mm.
managed that sort of residency. Are you talking about Kayla's residency
Like
or
Meadow
you're
House.
Oh, okay.
okay,
Meadow
okay,
House.
yeah, and yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was doing for a job when we lived in New York, and
Oh, okay.
I
So
found
let's
it to be good and
yeah,
fulfilling.
let's go back to some of your art. Let's talk about your art.
Okay, yeah, I'm an artist
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, you're an artist too. You're an artist. Tell us, just, share with us about, your life as an artist and the type of art that you're known for.
I've always had drawing at the center of what I do. I've been drawing since I was a little kid.
Mhm.
And a lot of my work definitely stems from that movement, that mark making of drawing. But I
Mhm.
also have over the past few years really used a lot of text and handwritten words in my work.
Mm.
So you may not notice it in these two pieces, but they're kind of made up of letters that have been sort of cut up and rearranged into these formations. And yeah, that is kind of where my focus has been maybe the last like 5 or 6 years is using words in some way. And it's original poetic things. Like it's not like I'm not saying have it your way, it's McDonald's or something. I'm creating it's more things that are often about like maybe mental health or just our collective lived experience, things I find inspiring or even funny or sad. Those are the type of content that I like to bring into the work. So, these abstracted pieces are a little less literal than my straightforward word paintings, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And
I
that picture is in Pittsburgh. That's a very recent exhibition
Mhm.
from about a year ago.
Now I told you I shared with you that I checked out your website.
Okay.
So when you have, because there are, words clearly that people are able to read. So
Yeah.
when you do this, is it still important that people know what the words are? Or is there, a message that you're conveying to,
I
some
think
other people?
there's a whole other layer of meaning if they know the words. But I think that the best case scenario is people see the work first, in like an aesthetic way, and then they learn what the pieces, how they connect to the titles of the pieces, which are usually what the painting's made up of. Like second, I think that's the best way to view them.
Well, when I looked at some of your passages, I actually thought, how do you do this? And it looks the same each time. I mean, it looks like print, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm sure it's not that simple. I'm sure it's
Yeah,
not.
I've cultivated like a style of painting that's kind of like my handwriting. Do you know what I mean? But it's funny because it's kind of loose, but it's still neater than, if I were just handwriting a grocery list. Do you know what I mean? It's still like an intentional sort of style I've settled on, I guess. And I know how it looks. I know how the words are, and I know what words are going to look like kind of before drawing them. But it's a time where when I write the words out, I'm definitely kind of in a meditative space. And that's all I'm thinking about doing. I'm just concentrating on that.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I think everybody should look up S. Ladon Studios because
Yeah.
that's your work. I did that. I did that, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And I mean, and you have a number of works. You know.
Yeah, there might be about 10 years of work on that website, thing like
Yes,
that,
yes,
maybe.
yes. So, so how did you settle on this, your signature being this particular art?
Mm, I think it's because I really do also enjoy communicating through words. And like, Kayla's a professional writer and
Hmm.
I'm like an amateur writer. So though I have like a newsletter where I talk about the meaning of the work or the inspiration of the work, or I write about something like in culture, through like my own lens.
Hmm.
I with the text, it's allowing me to say a lot more than just images.
Hmm.
And I also enjoy, drawing things, and doing things that are more illustrative or even abstract. But I just feel like I've been in like a space with words where I wanted to give that style and that way of making art room to grow.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like I'm just, I've often just gone from thing to thing year after year, but I've really tried to make this a thing that can build and can grow and can evolve.
Hmm. I'm sure it will. I'm sure.
Patience.
Yes. In time.
Yeah.
John just posted your website online,
Oh, cool.
in the chat if anybody wants to check it out. That's nice. That's nice. So what else do you all enjoy doing here in Shaker Heights in Cleveland? And I'm curious with your space, I know that you're taking care of the babies, so you may not have an opportunity to do, your art as much as you would like, but tell us what else you enjoy doing.
Our kids take up a very significant amount of our time currently, which they're delightful. Ever is 2.5, a little more, and Journey
Okay.
is 7 months, just about 7 months.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's been, I feel like we've still kind of been settling in and becoming a family a lot of the time.
Yes. Well, and one of the things that I had a short conversation with Ever yesterday about the picnic table and Grandma and Grandpa. So I understand that you bought the side lot next to your house. What plans do you have for your lot?
Yeah, we just like it's been a year-long process, but we officially acquired it pretty recently. And I've been a pretty avid gardener and I've had
Mhm.
chickens in the past,
Mhm.
and just really appreciate, landscaping and outdoor space. So when I when our kids are maybe a little older and can help, I hope to install a lot of gardening spaces and our house kind of fills the whole footprint, our house
Mm.
and driveway and garage. So we didn't really have a yard except for the little square
Oh,
in the front.
yes.
Um, so it's also just space for just being outside.
Okay.
And we're excited about our picnic table.
Oh, yes, yes, I understand. The whole family is. Did you deliberately look for a house that had a side lot? I mean,
Yes.
was that part of your interest? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Yes. Well, I'm sure you can get a lot of ideas from folks who have side lots. People are very creative about what they do with them. And I
Hmm.
understand also that you have, okay, now this will be something that many people haven't experienced in recent years. You have a manual mower, your lawnmower.
Yeah, I suppose you don't know that because you heard it because it doesn't make a lot of sound. Uh,
No, no, you were telling me that. You were telling me that.
yeah, no, I love it. Kayla's the one who wanted it, but I really enjoy using it.
Okay, okay.
I'm a pretty thrifty person. I come from a Mennonite background, so I sort of have this like inherited sense of being really thrifty and working hard and not relying too much on technology. So I was really insistent that we get a manual lawnmower,
Wow.
which was fine when we just had the little square front yard. But now that the city's no longer mowing the lot beside us,
That
I
is
mean it's fun
right.
work. I like mowing it, but it is a lot of work.
Yes, that is right. So, right. So you'll get a lot of exercise. Yes, in a lot of different ways. I bet it works a lot of muscles in your body, especially if you have
Yeah.
a large lot to mow. That's interesting. So, you told us a very, very inspiring story, Kayla, about your family and about your grandparents. So if you would share with everyone, a way that all of us can get to know your grandparents.
Sure. Yeah, I think like one of the reasons I really ended up in Moreland is because my grandparents have been so instrumental and inspiring in my life. They come from Mennonite backgrounds. Both of them come from pretty rural areas in Kansas and Ohio.
Hmm.
And they came to Cleveland in the 40s or late 40s, and were part of planting a church, a Mennonite church in the city, which is Lee Heights Community Church now. It's in the Lee Harvard neighborhood, just around the corner from Moreland.
Hmm.
And that's my family in front of the brick of Lee Heights Community
Hmm.
Church.
Hmm.
But I think they were pretty ahead of their time, I guess, in coming to this city to create an intentionally interracial, multiracial, multi-ethnic church. There's sort of an alignment with some of the civil rights movement that was
Hmm.
happening, and Mennonites have historically been nonviolent and had that as a really central part of their Christian faith. And
Hmm.
so they, together with another couple, Gerald and Annabelle Hughes, which is a interracial couple, they created this space that was really a community church. They didn't just bring their ideas of their white-centered religion to the city. They really invested in the community they came to. And this is the gospel choir, the Lee Heights Gospel Choir, probably about 10 years, 10-ish years ago, maybe a little more. And yeah, we had a gospel choir that I grew up in. My mom was a gospel choir piano player.
Hmm.
And we this is not actually at Lee Heights because sometimes we traveled around to different churches
Oh,
and sang at them as well.
okay. I think you're in this picture too. If you put,
Yes, I'm
yeah.
all the way to the left. I'm the second person from the left. Yeah,
Okay.
me.
Okay. Now, what year did they actually found the church?
I think
Do you know what year it is? Well, your parents, they probably know. I'm
Mom
just
and Dad.
thinking,
It might be about. I think they just celebrated. Was it 75?
That sounds accurate.
What it was it in 1957? But that's when Lee Heights was founded. They were part of an earlier church called
Mm,
Gladstone that was moved
mhm,
because of urban renewal. And so then it kind of merged and moved and like merged with Lee Heights. So they were here earlier than that, but the actual
mm.
church, I think, was
That's very interesting. I know a little bit about that area, just because of I mean, not that I lived there, but just the history of the Lee Harvard area. And that's really um interesting because there was a lot of resistance to allowing African Americans to move into that neighborhood. That's the reason I was asking when they actually established the church was that it was even, I think, a little bit earlier than that. Yeah, I think 1953, an African American family moved on Talford, which is not far, I think, from the church, and not welcomed at all. So it's really something that your family said, we're going to situate ourselves right here. And then things changed,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't be surprised, clearly, if the church had to do with bringing people around and making people feel welcomed, making people feel welcomed. Yeah, there's a whole history about that particular area. So they were ahead of their time. They were
Sure.
ahead of their
Yeah.
time. Yes, yes, yes. Does anybody have questions? You had told me that your parents are here. Your parents are here. Do your parents want to chime in and share any? We heard about, you know, the fact that you were, involved with the church and Kayla's moved here in the Moreland area. Anybody want to chime in?
I don't know if that's feedback.
Oh,
This
here.
is this is Craig. I'm
Okay.
Kayla's dad, but I'm giving feedback, so I'm gonna get off.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, welcome. Welcome. You're somewhere close in the house, I guess. So tell us about these pictures.
Well, on the left is my mom. She's been a gospel piano player for her whole life. And so, am I getting
I wonder if they're not muted.
I think, well, John, you can help me with this. If Kayla and Sena mute.
I think,
We got it. We got it.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Okay. We can hear you fine now.
yeah, we're good.
Me playing the piano. This is her mom.
That was
That
the voice of my mom, but she was playing the piano. She still plays
oh,
at the home. She plays through several songs every day and ever likes to play along with her.
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, he looks like he really knows what he's doing. Look at him. Look at him. Look at his fingers. That's wonderful. Is he picking up? Is he picking up
Yeah,
playing? I mean, he's 3, right?
Yeah, almost three.
almost three.
He's learned how to, not just bang.
Okay.
He'll hit individual notes. That's the progress he's made.
Here, and I see he's also an artist.
Yeah, he loves to color. He likes to draw.
That's good. And I hear Journey in the background. In the background. So, Kayla, you said also that you tell us a little bit about your work. You mentioned it a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, I currently work for the United Church of Christ. Their denominations are in downtown Cleveland, and so I've worked at nonprofits and I've been a freelance writer in the past. And so this position, and I went to seminary and worked as a chaplain. And so this position kind of brings together writing and spirituality and religion. So I write the news for the United Church of Christ. So I do a lot of interviewing other people. I'm not
Hmm.
usually the one getting interviewed. And I write stories just highlighting what people are doing in churches all around the country and
Mm,
different kinds of sort of resources that are available for
okay.
religious folks.
Okay. So when you I'm curious about your, the fact that you went and pursued a master's in divinity.
Mhm.
Okay, well, tell us what your vision for life is and your decision to do that.
Yeah, I think I was really inspired by what my grandparents did. I feel like, they created a really strong value system and a
Mhm.
really tight-knit family because of everything was based around church
Mhm.
growing up. And I just feel that there's a really meaningful way that faith can fit into life,
Mhm.
in a that it can come together with activism. And I went to Union in New York City because it's got a really strong tradition in like liberation theologies, Black
Mhm.
liberation theology, womanist theology, and it brings together activism and faith a lot. And
Mhm.
so those are things that I'm interested in. I'm still anticipate in the future getting more involved in church work directly.
Mhm.
Um, but as we moved here, this opportunity came up with the United Church of Christ, and um, it's a really good fit for right now.
Oh, good. That's good. I understand you bike to work every once in a while.
Yeah, I've been doing it. So I had journey. I was pregnant for a while, and so kind of coming out of recovery of that. He's 7 months old now. I just started biking recently, so I have to go into the office a couple times a week, and
Okay.
it's about an hour bike ride.
Mhm.
But it's been a really nice time to clear my head and just be outside. I love biking. I've done a lot of like really long bike trips.
Okay. Okay.
Like there's
Nice.
a bike path from Pittsburgh to Washington, D.C. that I've done a couple times.
All
Really
right.
long bike trip.
My goodness.
So I just feel like there's nowhere that's sort of as mind clearing and
Hmm.
feel really powerful getting myself somewhere that way.
Nice. I know you and John could have many conversations about that. An hour. That's something. How long does it take you to get to work, John? He's been doing it for a long time. You have it down to a science.
Yeah, like 30 minutes, depends on the wind.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, all those factors you have to take into consideration. Yes, yes, yes. Well, we have some other pictures here of your wedding. All right. Tell us about this moment, please.
Yeah, so I'm really a big fan of karaoke singing, and we had a first karaoke instead of first dance at our wedding.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I actually am not I'm what you would call an emotional singer. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't know how to sing. Like
Mhm.
Kayla can sing these four-part harmonies and whatnot, but I'm more about the delivery, the
Okay.
the charisma. That's it.
We
To me, it's more of a performance or an act, and I do miss. I mean, because of being full-time parents and because of COVID prior to that, I've really missed karaoke. I used to go every week, and it was so fun. It's
Hmm.
such a cathartic,
Hmm.
grounding thing to do every week. I
Oh,
loved it.
wow. So every week where? In Pittsburgh?
Yeah, there would be,
Nice.
different dive bars we would kind of host it. And you would know the same people who you'd see every
Hmm.
week, you know what I mean? Just have
Hmm.
a little
Sure.
community around it.
Do you remember what song you were singing when you were in this picture?
Oh, it was like Sonny and Cher, I Got You, Babe.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. We know that song. We know that song. That's wonderful. And we were saying too that we need to bring karaoke to neighbor night.
You gotta do it.
Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun? And we also see that there's a family dinner photo that we have here.
Yeah.
Is this out at a restaurant?
That is, what's the name of the restaurant?
Where are you?
This might be Seal Garden.
Okay,
It's
John's saying yes, that's where it is.
uh, the guy, the middle guy there is our cousin.
Okay.
He's really into Korean food, so we went there.
Mm.
Gone there for a couple of his birthdays. These are Kayla's aunt and her cousin and their one of their kids and everyone who's a baby.
Mhm.
And yeah, and her partner, Kayla's cousin's partner, Kojo, is on the right. So that's everybody in the picture. But we do a rotating family dinner with Kayla's family at a different person's house weekly. And
Mm.
um, I love it. I love to cook and I love to host people.
Mm.
So I look at people coming over as a chance to really try something new, or if you know someone really likes something, I feel like that's a way to you know
Mm.
show someone you appreciate them, or things of that nature. So yeah, I really Ever loves family dinner.
Mm.
Our child Ever is always very excited. If we say family dinner is this week or tomorrow, he'll say, I want to go to family dinner.
Oh,
When's
boy.
family dinner? So
Mhm.
yeah, it's got it's a
That's
really cool ritual and cool thing to do.
mhm. That is absolutely wonderful. So where did you go for dinner this weekend? Whose house did you go over?
Well, we skipped it this week because Thanksgiving is next week.
Oh, okay. So where is Thanksgiving
I
going
mean,
to
it's
be?
this week. Thanksgiving's coming. Thanksgiving's this week. Yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah, we're gearing up for that.
Where is it going to be? Is it going to be at your house?
No, it's gonna be at my cousin's house, who is
Okay.
a cousin who has two kids that are the same age as
Yeah.
ours,
Oh,
that live
okay.
pretty nearby
Oh,
in
wow.
Greenway neighborhood.
They'll grow up together.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, Cindy, you told me that you have a few dishes that you enjoy, and that may be the next venture, in terms of your
Well,
cooking.
yeah, I started making my sauce earlier, my red sauce. I guess it's a Sunday sauce. Yeah, I started making that earlier, and I'm gonna probably simmer it another hour after this.
Oh,
It's
nice.
done.
Okay. Okay. So I know that on Tuesday is neighbor night. Are you going to participate in what is it, pasta and chili cook-off?
It's pasta and chili,
Yeah.
and we did win last year.
Oh, okay. Oh
I'm
my
not I'm
goodness.
not concerned about winning again.
Okay.
But I do, I do. I was like, I gotta make some sauce. I had to make sauce for Thanksgiving. My family does an early Christmas and the
Hmm.
neighbor night. So I have this. So I was like, I'm gonna make all this sauce at once, and I'll freeze some for
Oh,
the
okay.
Christmas thing. I
Okay.
can
So
be
you
doing these
won last
sauces every day.
year. You won last
So,
year. That's wonderful. That's
so yeah,
wonderful.
I'll be bringing something to the neighbor night for sure.
Okay, good. I may have to make sure I'm there
I
since
mean,
you won
us.
last year, especially. I think we might have a few other pictures. And, a question that I want to ask is about your children's names, Ever and Journey.
Yeah, they
I mean, they're just tell me about their names, and the inspiration behind their names.
sure. I came up with their names, I think,
Okay.
mostly. I am a writer, but I've always also been a poet, and so I really love words.
Hmm.
And when we were kind of listing out word like names, I just really was like, I want them to be words that hold some meaning to them. And with Ever, I was thinking I also like the idea of naming them after people, who've been and who are ancestors now. And so Ever is like a little take on my grandpa's name, Vern. Because it's part,
Hmm.
Ever, it's
Hmm.
in there, but it's also, a remix. So it's a new name. And I
Hmm.
just like the expansiveness of that name. Um, and journey, I think it's just we felt like it was a definite journey through all these places we've been, and it was like a little bit of a rough pregnancy, and uh,
Yes. Mm.
You want to say anything about Journey?
Well, his middle name is Yarrow,
Mm.
so Journey Yarrow, and they have my last name then Kayla's last name last, so it's Journey Yarrow Ladon Berkey, and Ever is Ever Indigo Ladon Berkey. So Kayla has also thoughtfully given them beautiful plant-based middle names.
Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
yeah, she has a knack for naming. She really
Mm.
does. I mean, I weigh in, but she's the one who has the inspirational moment where she can
Their names are very
have the
poetic.
epiphany. Yeah.
They're very poetic. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
she did a great job.
That's wonderful. Well, we know your children, Ever and Journey. Ah, that's beautiful. So we have another painting of yours to show here.
Yeah, that's just that's a mural. The photo doesn't show it, but there's two other walls that it
Mm,
continues onto. That was a cafe space in Pittsburgh that this design studio who was doing they did a beautiful interior. You can't see like the tile work and stuff below it.
mm,
They they got me to do this sort of linear mural. So you can see how those lines kind of relate to the same sort of mark making as like drawing letters, for example. Do you know what I
mm,
mean? So
mm,
it's kind of a continuation of that. It is funny because it does look very much like children related, you know what I mean? And this is way before we had kids, this is probably 2018,
mhm,
shortly before we left Pittsburgh. I would
mhm,
imagine when this photo was
mhm.
taken.
That's very nice. That's very nice.
Yeah, I was really happy with how it turned out.
I could see you teaching a class, but that's down the road after the kids are a little older, but that's okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah. How
Yeah,
everything is, yeah.
it's always down the road. That's good. Does anybody have questions, comments, chime in? I saw a couple of times, Rhonda was chiming in on the winning the pasta cook-off last year. Here you are, Sam. I see you've unmuted.
Yep. Sam and I were wondering whether or not you knew Reverend Lassiter, who was, he passed several years ago, but he was very much involved with the United Church of Christ when it was right up here on Chagrin. Did you know Valentino Lassiter? He
I,
also, you did
I,
not.
mm-mm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I also want to know where we can we got the link for the artwork. Where can we find your writing?
My writing?
Yeah.
I ucc.org/news.
Okay.
I write like articles. It's a digital news digest that comes out every week, but they are all on the ucc.org website.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
You were artists in so many different ways. It's so wonderful learning so much about you. Do your parents, Rosie and Craig, do you want to chime in and share anything that we may not have touched on this evening? Oh, goodness, here you are. Here you are. This is a great photo. This is a great photo.
Kayla's dad's the talker, so Rosie needs to say something. She grew up in Hildana, so this is her neighborhood. We started dating. I had a friend that lived on Ludgate, and they introduced us over a winter break. She was going to the University of Toledo. I was going to a small college in Indiana, and real, sheltered, rural farming community. And she brought me to Cleveland. So, Rosie grew up in Haldana, and I became a lover of Cleveland through Shaker. So, Rosie, you want to say anything about your childhood?
I loved living on Hildana, and I could just walk to school to Moreland, which is not there anymore. I can walk to the library where it took its place. But yeah, I love the walkability of everything.
That's wonderful. My mind is reeling now in terms of other Moreland stories. I'm sure you can tell some wonderful stories about the neighborhood. Now, you said you have an uncle who lived on Dana still.
My brother,
Your brother.
my older brother.
Oh my goodness. Aha.
He followed in
No,
his dad's footsteps that Kayla's been talking about her grandfather, but
yes.
Pastor Robin, after Pastor Vern retired in the mid-90s, Pastor Robin took over and was the pastor of Lee Heights for almost, I think, 20 years,
Oh, wow.
or over 20 years, almost 25.
Oh my goodness.
So
Yep. So anybody who knows me knows my mind is working in terms of, Moreland stories that we, don't very often know of families who have lived here, that long. That long. Many of our guests certainly have been here for many, many, many years. But it's always wonderful to hear stories from people, especially when you went to
there used to be
Moreland.
several pastors that lived in Hildana, is what you told me, Rosie, right? Nearby. So
Little community. Community. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. This is a great family picture here, relatively recent because Journey's in the picture.
Yep.
Oh, and Quintella says, thank you for sharing.
What
Continue
is that?
your
What
art
is that
writing.
picture?
Hey there, Ever. Ever, would you like to tell us about your picnic table?
We have a picnic table that Grandpa brought me.
He loves that picnic table, that's for sure.
I think it was more about the excitement of seeing a white pickup truck driving in his yard.
Okay, that's great. And I'm sure he'll hit in the spring, when he can actually go outside and table.
I can actually go outside when they can just go.
Sounds good.
I can go outside. Too dark.
Can you tell that Grandma and Grandpa have taken over the kids so there wouldn't be as much?
Oh, yes, we heard that. It's fine. It
So
just
we'll let you go, but thanks for sharing the stories of our daughter and son-in-law.
Oh, yes. It's
Two
our
wonderful
pleasure.
people.
Sure. And thank you for joining in. Thank you so much. Thank you. Anybody else want to comment or question? Wonderful. We hear the music of the children in the background. This was wonderful. I really appreciate Sena and Kayla agreeing to do this because it was really somewhat last minute, but I said, oh, I know young people can respond quickly, and I think maybe when you first moved in, I remembered meeting you at Shelton Park and you're like, well, we haven't been here very long, but I don't forget. And I think I got your number. So, so that was how, it came about. And it really helped Center for you to be walking through the neighborhood just a few weeks ago. So we had a wonderful conversation. That's wonderful. Well, thank you all. Thank you, Kayla and Senna, for spending time with us on Witness to History this evening. As we said, the interviews are posted on the library's website. Eventually will be posted there. So you will be, and I don't know, John, if you can say number 50 or whatever, people who look at it will know, how long we've been doing Witness to History, and 50 is, monumental. Kayla, I think you said, oh, you must know everybody in Moreland. I said, no, no, there are many, many, many more people in Moreland I would love to interview. I do want to share that I can tell everybody who our guest is for next month, for December 15th, if you want to mark your calendar. Mr. Eric Brown is going to be our guest. He lives on Menlo. It's been on Menlo for a number of years, and we'll have a good time hearing from Mr. Brown. So anybody who knows of someone who, or if you would like to be a guest, if you haven't been already, please feel free to give me a call or send me an email. Giving me a call is probably a better idea because my email is pretty crazy these days. I don't know who these people are who are emailing me. So, please jot down my phone number if you'd like to give me a call. I'm always looking for people to introduce me to people that I don't know, who I would be able to interview. Actually, that's how I met Eric Brown, was through one of our guests, Donna Johnson and Carmela Williams. So he's going to be our guest. And I would just like to say again, thank you everybody for being here. And everybody have an absolutely wonderful, 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 blessed Thanksgiving. Thank you. See everybody next next month, next month, December 15th. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you, Kayla and Sena.
Thank you.
All righty. Good night.
Thank you.